Why would Republicans want more people to die of COVID? Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Per capita infection and death rates in the 26 GOP-led states were compared with the 25 Democratic-led jurisdictions, including Washington, D.C. Republican governor, I'm reading from the study. Republican governors were slower to adopt stay-at-home orders if they did so at all. Having a Democratic governor was the most important predictor of state mandates to wear face masks. Trump ignored the advice of the epidemiologist. The U.S. will, quote, soon be open for business, Trump said at the time. This was Easter time. This was last April. The study suggested that, quote, decisions by Republican governors in spring 2020 to retract policies such as the lifting of stay-at-home orders on April 28 in Georgia contributed to increased cases and deaths. Sarah Benjamin Nealon, a professor at Johns Hopkins and co-author of the paper, said, quote, that governor's party's affiliation may have contributed to a range of policy decisions that together influenced the spread of the virus. These studies underscore the need for state policy actions that are guided by public health considerations rather than partisan politics. Well, it raises the question, why would Republicans want more people to die of COVID? Death cult. Similarly, a study published in Nature, well, this is another one. This was a study, the first one, published in Social Psychiatry and Psychiatric Epidemiology. It's a magazine, a peer-reviewed scientific journal. Suicide rates are higher in Republican states, in American states with the Republicans in charge. Period, full stop. Suicide rates are higher in red states. So then you look at another study that was published in Nature, looking at nearly a century of suicide statistics in the UK and Australia, and they found, and I'm quoting, in total, there were 35,000 extra suicides under the Conservatives, one for every day of the century, or two for every day that the Conservatives ran the country. Why? Why is it the suicides go up when Conservatives are in charge? It's a death cult. And their followers seem to have embraced this death cult meme as well, most visibly in their affection for Nazi and Confederate and satanic symbology. I mean, look at the T-shirt that we saw the guy wearing at the traitor wearing at the assault on the Capitol. 6 million wasn't enough. Right. The Nazi flags, the Confederate flags, the open carry with giant guns that brings to mind the psychological condition that's called compensation. But these guns have already been used to kill people in pro-Trump demonstrations. Even back when Freedom Works, this is the group that the Kochs kicked off to take on America's first black president, when they were rallying across the U.S. in April of last year in the, quote, open the economy rallies, it was hard to find a protest where there wasn't a swastika or an upside-down cross or an upside-down star or a Confederate flag. The Confederates, of course, were the people who committed treason against the United States to maintain their right to torture, rape, and kill enslaved people. And then they lost a war that they started with that treason. And then there's the Republican Party's new logo that was rolled out just in time for the Supreme Court to give the White House to George W. Bush. That has an odd history. Back in June of 1998, John King abducted a black man by the name of James Byrd, who was hitchhiking in Jasper, Texas. He overpowered him, tied him to the back of his pickup truck, and dragged him for 3 miles. The pavement tore his body to shreds, killing Byrd. King dumped his lifeless body in front of an African-American church. At his trial, one of the things that was introduced into evidence was this giant upside-down satanic star in his armpit. The prosecutors pointed out he was a Satan worshiper, as well as a white supremacist. The Southern Poverty Law Center says the satanic star pentagram has been used in several race crime attacks on black churches and other places of worship. The pentagram is a symbol of the Nazi Satanist movement, which derived from European fascism in the 40s, with subgroups later forming in different parts of the world. These groups view themselves as the superior race. I mean, you know, when Hitler's guards started wearing the death's head, the skull and crossbones on their collars, Germans knew what that meant. These are killers. Symbols carry meaning. We put a 5-pointed right side up star. You know, it's what is it, Da Vinci's man, you know, with his arms out and his legs out and his head up. That's the 5-pointed star. That's what we put on our flag, but the Republicans flipped it upside down to turn it into the satanic star. It's the logo of the satanic temple, for God's sake. Yes, I get it. The satanic temple is sort of tongue-in-cheek to prove the absurdity of some religions, but nonetheless, they're using actual satanic symbols. You can see the pictures and read the whole thing over at HartmannReport.com, but the question that comes to mind is, how else can you explain the behavior of these Republicans if it's not that the Republican Party has become a modern-day death cult? What other possible explanation is there? What am I missing here?